In this video, you will learn about Adobe Flash, Adobe Flex, Adobe Flash Player, and Adobe Air. I will provide you with some samples of the technologies and a brief overview of each. I will also explore their relationship in both technical and historical perspectives. You will use Flash or the Flex framework to create applications. Flash Player and Air are the runtimes for the compiled Flash and Flex applications and are targeted to the browser and the desktop, respectively. Most web developers are familiar with Adobe Flash as an animation tool for designers, but over the last decade, many professionals have used Flash to build applications that are both rich in media and interactivity. This example shows the Adobe Creative License website, which explores how the Adobe Creative Suite has enabled artists, photographers, and others to reach new heights in implementing their creative concepts. Notice that users can click on the arrows or pictures to watch and hear more information about each piece. To create Flash animations or applications, designers or developers use the Adobe Flash environment, which provides tools for drawing and a timeline for animations. Adobe Flash is a powerful tool. However, as more programmers became involved in building rich internet applications, it quickly became clear that they were not comfortable using the drawing tools, timeline, and other visual panels to create forms and elements that are common to the business application. Adobe Flex was created to solve this problem for programmers. This technology provides developers with a framework of extendable classes and an IDE called Flex Builder, which allows them to quickly build rich internet applications using the ActionScript and MXML programming languages. Rich internet applications using the Flex framework can be just as visually and interactively compelling as a Flash area. Consider this Adobe example, which allows me to interactively explore the Adobe technologies that were used to create these state-of-the-art applications. Flash uses visual tools and a timeline to lay out applications and ActionScript to program functionality. Flex provides users with a framework of classes including visual components and two programming languages, MXML for the visual layout and ActionScript for the business logic. Flex often appeals more to developers, while Flash appeals to designers. When you are ready to deploy a Flash application, the Flash environment compiles all the visual elements, directives from the timeline, and business logic from the ActionScript code into a Swift file. Similarly, MXML and ActionScript code in a Flex application are translated into ActionScript and then also compiled into a Swift file. Once you place the Swift file on the server, a user can request the application from the server. Note also that both Flash and Flex applications can dynamically request data. That request will go through the application server to the database, back to the application server, and then finally back to the browser. The user will have a rich interactive experience with the application, regardless of whether the application was originally built in Flex or Flash. Flash and Flex can be used together. Since Flash is optimized for the creation of animation and visual elements, you may find that it is better to create such elements in that tool, compile them into Swifts, and then integrate them into your Flex applications. The Adobe Flex framework is available for free in an open-source SDK that includes extensive ActionScript 3 and MXML class libraries, pre-built components, and a command line compiler. Alternatively, you can use the Eclipse-based Flex Builder IDE, which contains everything in the SDK and is also optimized for accelerated design, development, and testing of Flex applications. To view Flash and Flex applications in a browser, users will require the Flash Player 9 runtime. Adobe Air is the Adobe runtime for desktop applications. With Air, you can create rich internet applications with web technologies like Flash, Flex, and Ajax, but deploy them outside of a browser as desktop programs. In this example, you see the Employee Directory Air application on my desktop. When I activate the program, I interact with it as I would with any other desktop application. To recap this presentation, remember that you use Flash and the Flex framework to create applications. Flash Player 9 and Air are the runtimes for browser-based and desktop-based applications.